October 21st, 2015. It's Back to the Future Day. Now, for those of you who don't know, we'll get you out of that rock you've been living under. This is the day in Back to the Future 2 when Marty McFly goes ahead to the future. And things are much different. Much, much different. But he does so with Doc Brown in a DeLorean turned into a time machine. We all know you punch in the the proper dates using the time circuits, where you are, where you want to go, where you've been, and this all does a whole bunch of technological mumble jumbo, and boom, you hit 88 miles an hour and you're back in time or forward in time to today. But now it's that day, and I can try and do what I figure my best to explain to you how this would work, being that I haven't really seen too many other people break down the science behind it. Now understand, most theories of temporal transference, time travel, occur using the theory, unified field theory, where you have one electromagnetic field and you have your inverse magnetic field create a torsion field, perhaps creates an aperture in which would be tuned to the specific temporal resonance in which you choose to go. Now, there have been experiments on that before. Whether or not they actually happen is up to you, the believer. But the Philadelphia experiment screwed around with these massive electromagnetic fields before. Inverse fields, torsion fields, electrostatic charging, and things happened apparently. But that's not what we're talking about today. Today I'm going to try and explain to you this. Now, if you look on here, I don't know where to start with this, so I'll do my best. You see these three lines coming up out of the core. And those three lines would probably be the direct plasma or electrical output, the energy output, driven from that street legal core that they claim the DeLorean has, the light water nuclear core. You'll have everything that back here that you see would have to do with running that nuclear core, and the venting as well. If you notice, I've drawn one on here but left the other one out here, so you can actually get a look at what's underneath of here. Now, when you're punching into those time circuits, it knows where you are because there's some kind of temporal resonance monitor, and it displays it up on the time circuits as your current time and date. But what it's actually calculating out and translating into this current time and date is the temporal resonance of where and when you are. So when you're recalculating, it's taking that measurement. Say you type, you're back in 1985. You type in 2015, October 21st. It now knows what your current temporal resonance is, and it's going to use those calculations and how it figures your time and space resonance of the now, and it's going to roll that forward to what that time and space resonance is going to be October 21st, 2015. Now we would actually be able to, well, I don't know if we can yet, but if the technology existed, you could take that temporal resonance measurement and say, okay, this is what the computer would have said, and in 1985 it would have been this. That feeds that information up and into the flux capacitor, which was what makes time travel possible. Yeah, that was my Doc Brown for you. What that does is it actually helps to control the electromagnetic fields generated by, you see all this banding around the car here. These are its field emitters. Same as with the Tesla coil. The Tesla coil itself is a field emitter. It emits an electromagnetic field, a resonance field of energy, electricity. So this, they've got encompassed around the whole car. If you look at it, somebody actually, I think they had this in mind when they mocked up the design of this car. But this is what's going to create your barrier field and isolate the temporal resonance of this vehicle, this capsule, and allow it to generate the current temporal resonance, and then you're matching up to it the new temporal resonance in which you choose to travel to. I don't know where 88 mile an hour figures into all this, but that aperture is created once it's stabilized, and boom, the car travels through it. Why is it so cold? Well, that's probably has something to do with the superconducting, making the whole body of the car able to conduct much, much better. Kind of like you see with the quantum levitation and whatnot. But we're not going for levitation here, we're going for displacement. When something gets super cold, it also makes the molecules, the particles, move slower in general. We know this. That could just be a side effect of jumping through an aperture from one temporal point in time and space to another resonant point in time and space. Who knows? But yeah, I'm not a professor. I'm not a big science guy. I know what I know, and that's my theory. That it's basically using the same theory of unified field, the same unified field theory, except a lot of what you see in the movie is the movie. That's all it really is, just a movie. But I mean, we could speculate, we can guess. Oh, and if you actually look on the bottom of the car, it's got those same field emitters running underneath the car too. So the whole thing literally becomes encapsulated by this electromagnetic field, and then it resonates to the new field, or maybe it's generating a bifilar field where those two resonances are laid out right next to each other. Or perhaps it takes your resonant, and I'm just throwing these ideas out there in hopes that somebody else might go further in on this, but perhaps it generates current, time, and space temporal resonation, hits it with an inverse so it nullifies, brings it to a zero, right? It unifies it. It makes it so it's there but not there at all, because it's like +1 and -1 together make a 0. So you're nullifying the current temporal resonance, and then as you pass through that aperture, you're shifting that over in one solid, like changing a channel to a new temporal resonance. Boom, 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 and there he is, 2015. I don't know. What's your thoughts? I want to see if somebody else can try and explain exactly how Doc Brown's time machine works. Hope you enjoyed. That was my little presentation for Back to the Future Day. Have a good one.